Right, so, yeah, movie was pretty awesome. It's what, 20 to 11 at night now, so we are out and about in the evening in the big city on the little Enfield Hunter 350, and yeah, not a bad place to be. Nice muted exhaust. It does sound pretty good, to be honest. Sounds quite nice, but yeah, it's not going to annoy your neighbours. On the switchgear you've got a passing flashy light or high beam. Lights are always on, since that's a legality thing. I've been looking forward to getting on this and heading home. Vehicle around, doing Huey up here. Hit the motorway. It does sound like a good proper motorbike, this Enfield. As I was riding up here today on the highway, I couldn't help but think, like, oh, I wonder what would happen if you bumped up the compression on this and gave it a race tune. Like, it'd probably hum along pretty good, though you'd probably start running into cooling issues with it being a near-cooled engine. Still though, it's fun to think about. I always wanted a sort of British roadster when I was coming up in motorcycling, because my old man had a Bonneville. And this has kind of got that vibe, except it's affordable for someone who has no money like me. Yeah, as an inner city bike, I am a big fan of the Royal Enfield Hunter. It looks awesome, it's performance. Fine for around town, an urbanite. It's got a decent amount of personality. In a way, the power delivery is kind of reminding me of a scooter. Sort of just the way you twist, and the bike slowly moves forward. You can hear the single-cylinder engine humming along, but there's no haste or anything to it. It just, unless you're below 50 kilometers an hour, it's just a gentle, slow-moving thing. And honestly, I think I'm alright with that now. Sort of bombing around back roads isn't what this bike's intended for. It's not what it's designed for. It's designed to look sweet and be your daily transport in a city like Auckland. But yeah, very scooterish is the vibe I get from this. The way it develops its power when you're on the highway. You just twist and it goes. Easy. Being a 5-speed, yeah, that does have its pros and its cons. But this bike doesn't rev high enough to really need a 6th gear. Yeah, you could have a close ratio 6-speed, but you'd just be constantly shifting, I think. Where this, you can be quite lazy. You can shift into from first to second if you're plodding along at, say, 20 kilometers an hour. You could do that. But if you, well, what I'm trying to say is you can be lazy on the gears with the gearing it's got. If you're riding around in urban surrounds, chuck it in second, that'll go from as low as, say, 20 kilometers an hour. The engine will lug it all the way up to, I think, 70. Like, it's your go-to gear. Whereas third feels a bit like an overdrive if you're in a sort of 50k, 40k an hour speed limit. Out on the open road, yeah, it's happily humming along and doing, what, 95, 60 mile an hour indicated. Ooh. And now I've got to slow down to 50. Always disappointing when you build up speed and then you have to slow down. There's always something about these little Enfields that just brings a bit of the magic back to motorcycling for me. And I find that quite amazing because they don't have sort of the power or the specs that you think a rider like me who's been riding for 15 years now or so, I'm quite content on this. As a mode of transportation, it is quite lovely. Cruising along here, it's dark, the dash is illuminated nicely, there's a bit of a headwind. I'm not getting blown around heaps like I recall my old 250 Luna bike was. That thing was like a leaf on the wind. This feels nice and quite planted. Yeah, it would be interesting now that Royal Enfield is clearly on a path for building the 650 lineup as a larger capacity version of their 350 lineup. So we've got obviously the Continental GT 650, that was a larger version of the Continental 500. You got the Interceptor, which at the moment doesn't quite have a sibling in the 350 game. I suppose this or the Classic would be the closest you get. But the Classic has that pre-war styling. This has got a more modern aesthetic to it. The Interceptor's got a very, I think it's 70s is what the design aesthetic of that bike is. So it'd be really cool if Royal Enfield took what they've done with the Hunter and made a Hunter 650. That would be cracker. I would be very happy with an idea of that, because not all of us can afford a Triumph Bonneville or a Street Twin or Speed Twin 900 or Scrambler 900 or whatever you want to call it. And currently Triumph's not in this part of the market. You can't get a affordable Triumph. The smallest Triumph you can get now is the Trident or the Tiger 660. That arsehole's not wearing driving with lights on. That's amazing. So Royal Enfield currently has this segment, the retro, the modern classic, learner approved market all to themselves, and I think they are doing a fantastic job there. I haven't really talked too much about the brakes on this bike because honestly the brakes work. It's not a performance bike. It's a bit hard to say too much about them. They do have a nice feel, which I think I touched on in my first impressions. The leather feel on this bike is superb for that front brake, especially since this bike's done less than 400 Ks now. So just today I've done 161 Ks. So I think I'm going to have to talk to Simon from Urban Moto and get the catalogue to see what accessories you can put on this bike, because riding it along, like, it's a beautiful standard bike, but I've got an itch to see what you can do with this bike. What could you do to this machine? Could you put a small fly screen on it? That would do a bit for the wind pressure on your chest as you're riding, with it being a naked. Can you put a different seat for a bit more comfort? Different pegs? What can you do to this bike? A slightly louder exhaust might be cool. It might be obnoxious. I'm interested to find out. So, yeah. There seems to be a lot of potential with this little Hunter 350, whether it is the bike itself or the idea of the Hunter catches on more with Enfield and they expand their 650 lineup to include a 650 version. As a commuter, as a learner bike, I think this is a great machine, well up to the task, and it's a bit of a joy to ride. Like I say, Royal Enfields have a weird way of being a little bit magic. They're kind of like Moto Guzzi's are to me. They're not performance bikes, they're not meant to be the be-all and end-all in any category. They are meant to be good, honest transport with a little bit of personality, and yeah, it's I am a fan. Let's say that. For $7,500, honestly, there's not much you can complain about. Yes, the mirrors are a bit vibey, you can't see out of them particularly clearly. Yes, it could have more power for this sort of thing, but honestly, at the end of the day, that's not what this bike's for. It's for being solid, dependable transportation, and Enfield's done it, I think. So, unless I have any genius thoughts, I might end this video here. So, if you have been watching along all the way through this ramble, me exploring a city, or hunting around the city on the Hunter 350, thank you for watching. I'd really appreciate it if you would give us a subscribe. So close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, to that monetization goal. Not that I expect to make any money out of YouTube, but it'd be nice to be able to brag and say, yeah, I got 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I know the man. So yeah, if you could, like this video, give us a subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video. So, cheers. Okie dokie. So hopefully you can hear me over Adventure Rider Radio in my ears, because I can't be bothered turning the podcast off right now. We are brimming the tank of the Enfield. I gave it a full tank of 95 before I left in Cambridge. We're on top of the Bombay Hills. We used 9.14 litres of gas, and that took us a total of 194 kilometres. So I'll take a photo of this and that. Okay, so good donk. I'll work out the mileage later. Anyway, time to go get in the giant ass line of traffic. Hooray! Whoa. Whew. Okay. Oh. 10 minutes past 12 in the morning. It's a wee bit cold. I need to adjust my stuff. I think that's enough recording for one day.